how does blockchain founder funds, sports driven startups solving these real world problems? How does blockchain alleviate poverty, support these business ecosystems and financial inclusion as this big tech?
Yeah, I think there's a number of ways, but in my opinion, I actually think the current financial system, while it works for many, many people, like in the Western world where we're from, like it works, right? And it's a great system, but it doesn't work for everyone. And I think it's actually got some major pieces that are broken, right? We've got 1 billion people around the world that don't have banking, that are underbanked, that don't have identities, and they're just excluded from the system. Like this is a huge problem. We're talking about 1 billion people. This is not a small amount of people. And to say that our system works super effectively while it's cutting out 1 billion people is not really acceptable. And so what's interesting, and I think what's game changing about blockchain, is we now have the ability, and it's already happening, where people can essentially leapfrog the existing infrastructure. And you can have borrowing, lendings, and savings products, all while not having a bank account or not being connected to this global banking system. And that's actually very fascinating because there's actually a problem that I learned a lot about as we were working a lot with UN called de-risking. And the problem essentially is that let's take a bank in the US, and I'm just going to give an example. Let's take, say, JP Morgan, right? So if JP Morgan is working and needs to provide banking to other banks as well, right? So now you've got, say, a bank in Nigeria, right? And if JP Morgan's working with customers or the bank that's in Nigeria, JP Morgan needs to know where the money is going to go beyond that bank. So they need to know the money is going to hit that Nigerian bank, but then they need to know where it's going to go after that. So they need to do one step after that. And if they can't know that with certainty, they'll actually just cut off the bank in Nigeria. This is what de-risking is, and it's a huge problem because
It is.
that means that those banks aren't even connected to the global financial system. And that's where a huge, huge problem is coming in. And this is generally considered one of the biggest problems within sort of the banking system globally and inclusion. And so now you've got a system where everyone can have borrowing, lending, and savings products. They could actually completely leapfrog the existing financial system. And they can do it with no infrastructure, so saving all the infrastructure costs, all of the other costs that are sort of associated with this. That I think there's huge, huge potential here.